At its height, it was the greatest power the world had ever known, a shadow that stretched from the sands of Africa to the mists of Britain. This is the story of Rome, a civilization that defined the Western world, whose laws, language, and architecture still form the foundation of our modern society. But how did a tiny village on a hill become an empire of millions? And why did it eventually crumble into the dust of history? Our story begins in 753 BCE. According to legend, twin brothers Romulus and Remus were abandoned to die. Saved by a she-wolf and raised by a shepherd, they would return to the hills of their birth to found a city. While the myth is legendary, archaeology tells of simple shepherds and farmers settling the Palatine Hill. For 2.5 centuries, Rome was a kingdom. 7 successive kings shaped its early laws and religion. But tyranny sparked revolution. In 509 BCE, the Romans abolished the monarchy forever. Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the people. A new era of shared power began. Inside the city, a different war was being fought. The plebeians, the common people, went on strike, threatening to leave Rome unless they were given a voice in government. The result was the 12 Tables, Rome's first written laws, and the creation of the tribunes, powerful officials who could veto any law that harmed the common citizens. Rome expanded through relentless warfare and a unique policy of absorbing its rivals into the state. The Second Punic War saw the brilliant Hannibal cross the Alps with 37 elephants, bringing terror to the very gates of Rome. But Rome refused to surrender. Under Scipio Africanus, they broke the power of Carthage forever at Zama. Decades after Hannibal's defeat, the senator Cato the Elder ended every speech with the same 4 words: Carthage must be destroyed. The Third Punic War was inevitable. Wealth brought corruption. Inequality grew, and the Republic began to crack under the strain of its own success. But expansion was not easy. For over 50 years, Rome fought the Samnites, a fierce mountain people who handed Rome some of its most humiliating defeats. At the Caudine Forks, an entire Roman army was captured and forced to pass under a yoke, the ultimate symbol of submission. But Rome learned from every failure. To move their armies faster, the Romans began building the first of their legendary roads, the Via Appia, the Queen of Roads, connecting Rome to the south. During the First Punic War, the Romans, who were not sailors, invented the corvus, a boarding bridge that turned a sea battle into a land battle. To survive Hannibal, Rome adopted the Fabian strategy, avoiding direct battle and wearing the enemy down through harassment and starvation. The tide finally turned when a young, brilliant general named Scipio struck at the heart of the Carthaginian Empire in Spain and then Africa. The wealth of empire destroyed the Republic's soul. Tiberius Gracchus tried to redistribute land to the poor, only to be murdered by the Senate. 10 years later, his brother Gaius took up the cause. His death in a riot marked the moment when political debate in Rome was replaced by street violence. The system was further shaken by the massive slave revolt led by Spartacus. For 2 years, an army of gladiators and slaves defied the might of Rome. Then came Gaius Julius Caesar. His conquest of Gaul made him a hero and gave him an army loyal only to him. In Gaul, Caesar faced his greatest test at Alesia. He built a wall to keep the Gauls in, and a second wall to keep their reinforcements out, a masterpiece of military engineering. In 49 BCE, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, defying the Senate and triggering a final decisive civil war. The die is cast. Caesar's heir, Augustus, emerged victorious. He became the first emperor, ushering in the Pax Romana. The glory of the Caesars was often stained with madness. In 64 CE, a massive fire consumed Rome. Nero blamed the Christians, starting a century of persecution. The dynasty of Augustus soon descended into madness. Caligula, the third emperor, was a tyrant who allegedly planned to make his horse a consul and declared war on the sea. His successor, the scholarly Claudius, proved a surprising conqueror. He launched the successful invasion of Britain, bringing the edge of the known world into the Roman orbit. After the chaos of Nero, the general Vespasian took control. He was a practical man who famously taxed public urinals to refill the state treasury, stating that gold does not smell. Under Vespasian and his son Titus, the legions crushed the great Jewish revolt. The wealth taken from the temple in Jerusalem funded the construction of the Colosseum. The Flavian dynasty ended with Domitian, who fortified the German frontier with a series of walls and forts known as the Limes, marking the empire's permanent borders in Europe. The Republic's final breath was drawn at the Battle of Actium. Octavian's victory over Mark Antony and Cleopatra ended the civil wars and left him as the sole master of the Roman world. To win back the people, the Emperor Vespasian built the Flavian Amphitheater, the Colosseum, a place for games that showcased the power and brutality of Rome. After Nero's suicide, the empire plunged into the year of the four emperors. In just 12 months, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius rose and fell, before Vespasian finally restored order. In 79 CE, the empire witnessed a natural catastrophe of epic proportions. Mount Vesuvius erupted, burying the vibrant cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum in a matter of hours. The first cracks in the Pax Romana appeared not on the battlefield, but in the streets. The Antonine Plague killed millions, depleting the legions and the economy. The games were the lifeblood of the city. Gladiators, often slaves or prisoners, became the celebrities of their age, fighting for the entertainment of a bloodthirsty public. The Emperor Hadrian realized the empire had grown too large. He built a massive wall across Britain, defining the limits of Roman civilization. The first cracks in the Pax Romana appeared not on the battlefield, but in the streets. The Antonine Plague killed millions, depleting the legions and the economy. Under Trajan, the empire reached its zenith. He was the Optimus Princeps, the best of emperors, whose conquests in Dacia brought in mountains of gold and expanded the borders to their absolute limit. To celebrate his victories, he built a massive forum and a towering column, a marble masterpiece that still stands today as a testament to Roman military might. His successor Hadrian was a man of the world. He spent most of his reign traveling the provinces, ensuring the stability of the borders and the loyalty of the people. Hadrian was also a master architect. He rebuilt the Pantheon, creating the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world, a feat of engineering that wouldn't be matched for over a millennium. The line of 5 good emperors ended with Marcus Aurelius. Even as he fought desperate wars on the frontier, he wrote The Meditations, a guide to Stoic philosophy that still inspires today. Away from the palaces, life in Rome was a struggle for the millions who lived in insulae, overcrowded wooden apartment blocks prone to fire and collapse. Perhaps Rome's greatest legacy was its law. The concept of innocent until proven guilty and the right to a fair trial were forged in the courts of the empire. Latin, the language of the legions and the law, would survive the fall of the empire to become the root of the Romance languages and the foundation of Western scholarship. Education was highly valued for the elite, focusing on rhetoric and history, preparing the next generation of senators and governors to lead the state. Religion was woven into the fabric of daily life. The Vestal Virgins tended the sacred fire of Rome, a symbol of the city's eternal life and protection. Roman engineering was revolutionary. Their use of pozzolana, volcanic ash, created a concrete so strong it could set underwater and heal itself over centuries. The strength of the empire rested on the shoulders of the legionary. Their training was relentless, focusing on discipline, endurance, and the absolute obedience to the eagle. Desperate for protection the central government couldn't provide, the provinces of Gaul, Britain, and Spain broke away to form their own Gallic Empire, leaving Rome a fractured shell. The empire was saved by Aurelian, the restorer of the world. In just 5 years, he defeated the breakaway states and reunited the empire, but the era of peace was gone forever. Upon his death in 395 CE, the empire was permanently divided between his 2 sons. The West, with its capital at Ravenna, was left to face the gathering storm alone. From his cell in Bethlehem, St. Jerome wrote, "The city which had taken the whole world was itself taken." It felt like the end of civilization itself. But a greater terror was coming from the east. Attila and the Huns, the scourge of God, swept through Gaul and Italy, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake. In the 7th century, a new power emerged from the Arabian desert. The rapid expansion of Islam stripped the Byzantine Empire of its wealthiest provinces, forever altering the map of the world. The formula for Greek fire was a state secret, known only to a few. Its use at the siege of Constantinople in 717 saved the city and changed the course of history. The Byzantine decline was accelerated at the Battle of Manzikert in 1071. The defeat of the imperial army opened the heart of Anatolia to Turkish migration and conquest. The most tragic blow came from fellow Christians. During the Fourth Crusade in 1204, Western knights sacked Constantinople, a betrayal from which the empire would never fully recover. As Constantinople fell, its scholars fled to Italy, carrying with them the lost wisdom of the classical world. This influx of knowledge would help ignite the fires of the Renaissance. History is a cycle of birth, growth, and decay. But within that cycle, the achievements of Rome remain a beacon, a standard by which all subsequent civilizations have measured themselves. While the West fell into darkness, the Roman spirit endured in the East. For another 1,000 years, the Byzantine Empire would carry the torch of Roman law, culture, and power. Justinian's legacy was written in stone and gold. He built the Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom, a marvel of Roman engineering that redefined the limits of architectural possibility. Protecting this new Rome were the Theodosian walls, a triple line of defense that made Constantinople the most impregnable city in the medieval world for centuries. The Byzantine decline was accelerated at the Battle of Manzikert in 1071. The defeat of the imperial army opened the heart of Anatolia to Turkish migration and conquest. The most tragic blow came from fellow Christians. During the Fourth Crusade in 1204, Western knights sacked Constantinople, a betrayal from which the empire would never fully recover. Though the Byzantines eventually reclaimed their capital, the final 2 centuries were a slow, painful retreat as the Ottoman tide rose to swallow the last remnants of Roman power. The Byzantines guarded their empire with secret weapons. Greek fire, a mysterious incendiary liquid, could burn even on water, decimating enemy fleets and securing the borders. As Constantinople fell, its scholars fled to Italy, carrying with them the lost wisdom of the classical world. This influx of knowledge would help ignite the fires of the Renaissance. We live in the shadow of Rome. In our architecture, our republican governments, and our very concept of citizenship, the eternal city continues to shape our world. The fall of Rome was not just a political event, it was a philosophical warning. It reminds us that even the mightiest structures can crumble if the foundations of virtue and unity are lost. We are the heirs of Rome. Every time we cast a vote, every time we speak a Romance language, and every time we walk beneath a domed ceiling, we are touching the living pulse of an empire that refused to die. Rome was not just an empire of land, but an empire of the mind. Its rise taught us the power of unity. Its fall, the price of hubris. The story of Rome is the story of us. A second great pandemic, the plague of Cyprian, swept through the empire. At its height, 5,000 people a day died in the city of Rome alone, bringing work to a standstill. Theodosius the Great was the last emperor to rule over a unified Rome. He made Christianity the official state religion, banning the old pagan rituals that had defined the city for 1,000 years. The depth of Roman corruption was revealed in 193 CE when the Praetorian Guard, the emperor's own bodyguards, literally auctioned off the Roman throne to the highest bidder. As the central government faltered, breakaway states emerged. Queen Zenobia of Palmyra carved out her own empire in the east, proving that Rome's grip on its territories was slipping. To pay for the loyalty of the army, emperors began debasing the currency. The silver content of the denarius plummeted, triggering hyperinflation that gutted the Roman economy. Roman engineering was revolutionary. Their use of pozzolana, volcanic ash, created a concrete so strong it could set underwater and heal itself over centuries. Every night, even on the march, the legions built a fortified camp. This portable fortress ensured that a Roman army was never truly vulnerable, even in the heart of enemy territory. In 212 CE, his son Caracalla issued an edict granting Roman citizenship to every free man in the empire. While it seemed inclusive, its primary goal was to increase the tax base to pay for a massive, expensive army. Roman military medicine was surprisingly advanced. Field surgeons used clean tools and sophisticated techniques to treat wounds, ensuring that more soldiers survived the horrors of the battlefield. In 476 CE, a Germanic chieftain named Odoacer deposed the teenage emperor Romulus Augustulus. He did not crown a successor, he sent the imperial robes to Constantinople. Just 4 years later, the Vandals struck from the sea. They sacked Rome with such systematic thoroughness that their name became synonymous with senseless destruction. The end came in 476, when Odoacer deposed the boy emperor Romulus Augustulus. The Western Roman Empire was no more. Roman social life was uniquely communal. Public toilets were shared spaces where citizens conducted business and socialized, using a shared sea sponge on a stick for hygiene. The lowest point came when the Emperor Valerian was captured by the Sassanid Persians. Legend says he was used as a human footstool by the Persian king before being executed. Alaric, king of the Visigoths, had once served in the Roman army. Now, he led his people in a relentless march toward the Eternal City, seeking land and gold. The Western Roman Empire, which had endured for over a millennium, had ceased to exist. The lights were going out across Europe, ushering in the Dark Ages. A map showing the empire being torn down the middle, the line between east and west hardening into a permanent border. The Emperor Aurelian managed to reunite the fractured empire, but the vulnerability of the heartland was clear. He built a massive new wall around Rome, the first time the city needed defenses in centuries. In 451 CE, at the Battle of the Catalonian Plains, a desperate alliance of Romans and Germanic tribes finally halted Attila's advance. It was the last great victory of the West. But time eventually caught up with the Second Rome. In 1453, the walls were finally breached by Ottoman cannons. The last Roman emperor fell in battle, and the ancient line was severed forever. As Constantinople fell, its scholars fled to Italy, carrying with them the lost wisdom of the classical world. This influx of knowledge would help ignite the fires of the Renaissance. The Roman legal genius survived through the Corpus Juris Civilis, the Code of Justinian. It remains the foundation of the legal systems in many modern nations today. We live in the shadow of Rome. In our architecture, our republican governments, and our very concept of citizenship, the Eternal City continues to shape our world. The fall of Rome was not just a political event. It was a philosophical warning. It reminds us that even the mightiest structures can crumble if the foundations of virtue and unity are lost. History is a cycle of birth, growth, and decay. But within that cycle, the achievements of Rome remain a beacon, a standard by which all subsequent civilizations have measured themselves. We are the heirs of Rome. Every time we cast a vote, every time we speak a Romance language, and every time we walk beneath a domed ceiling, we are touching the living pulse of an empire that refused to die. Rome was not just an empire of land, but an empire of the mind. Its rise taught us the power of unity, its fall, the price of hubris. The story of Rome is the story of us. Thank you for watching. For centuries, the Colosseum has stood as the ultimate symbol of Roman engineering and the indomitable spirit of the Eternal City. Senatus Populusque Romanus. 4 letters that embodied the authority of a world power for over 1,000 years. The Roman legions were not just soldiers, they were builders, engineers, and the primary tool for the spread of Roman civilization. Through the eyes of these marble sentinels, we can still glimpse the ambition and the tragedy of the Roman world. Every dawn in the Forum was a reminder of the order and the law that held a vast and diverse empire together. For 2.5 centuries, Rome was a kingdom. 7 successive kings shaped its early laws and religion.